And go.
Hi, y'all, and welcome to another exciting episode of Down Home Dirt, the show where we dive deep into the journey of entrepreneurship with those who took the plunge and all the ups and downs that come with it. I'm your host, Dusta, and today we're joined with Hannah and Christina at Pinup Studios. And we are joined with you live. Tell us where we're at.
So we're in Pinup Studio, but through our Pink Mist Fun Decor, we're located off 13600 Falls of News. Now you did it on me. I was so confident on that, too, in the beginning. Do you want me to just repeat it?
Yeah.
Do you want me to say anything about Pink Mist?
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So we're... Now you're going to make me go on a whole bender. Okay. So we are currently in Pinup Studio, which is decorated for Pink Mist. We go all out. We are at 13600 Falls of News Road.
And I'm really excited to share this journey because she had started out down on Six Forks with a smaller place, and this is her newly graduated space, and I'm super excited.
Yeah.
So let's start from the way beginning.
Oh, great.
Tell us a little bit about where you're from and how did you end up doing hair?
So I am born and raised local, Raleigh, North Carolina. I actually wanted to do makeup more than hair. But I did play with hair. So all through high school, it was kind of one of those things where I would do my friend's hair with box color. And the thing that I would always say was, if it's messed up, then I'll just fix it for you. I don't think it looked great, but I never had to pay to get anyone's hair fixed. And also, I didn't know how I was going to tell my parents that if I did mess their hair up, they were actually going to be the ones to pay to fix it. I graduated high school early, went to Paul Mitchell, the School of Raleigh. At the time, I had thought that they taught a little bit more about makeup. I very quickly learned that's like a whole other ballgame to kind of learn. And in Raleigh, we're not in California. So, went through cosmetology school and just kind of always knew I wanted to be in the beauty industry. I was always like very girly girl. And my hairdresser growing up from probably like 6th grade through a little bit of hair school, like she was a huge inspiration for me because I thought she was so cool and she always worked at like the cool salon. So I always grew up going to these like high-end salons that were local that I loved. So that's kind of how I knew this was my path.
That's an amazing story, honestly, because I have ADHD, so I've lived 1,000 lives. I have done so many things, and you're like, nope, I know this is what I want to do, and I did it. I still don't know what I want to be when I grow up, and I'm almost 40, so...
I think you're doing great.
Well,
yeah,
thank you.
You're nailing it.
So tell us who you have with you today.
So I have Hannah. She is one of our lead stylists and our lead educator. She's been with me for, almost 3 years next year.
Almost, yeah.
And she's a whirlwind, so we can definitely dive into that. But I'll let you tell like her little fun path of how she got to beauty.
Okay, so I have a similar story to yours. Is like my teenage hairdresser very much inspired me because he was just so cool, so free-spirited, and I knew that I was not the type of person that could like pull off a 9 to 5. It just would not work out for me. ADHD and all the things. I like to move fast. I like new adventures, and so hair provided that. So I called my mom one day. I was in business school in my 2nd year of accounting, and I was like, oh yeah. And I was like, so Mom, I think I want to go to hair school. And I really expected her to give me like, you're going to ruin your life. Like, why would you do that? And it was the opposite. She was super, super supportive. And she's like, I think you do great at that. And just kind of gave me that permission to go. So I went to my local cosmetology school. I did not go to Paul Mitchell or Aveda. I actually just went to like a community college. And I stand by, you don't learn hair in hair school. You learn how to not give someone a chemical burn in hair school. That's what you're learning, and how to pass the state board. That's it. So I got out of school and ventured around and finally landed with this chick.
And you two met when you were at the other location.
Yeah. So she started coming across my For You page on TikTok. And
I love TikTok.
This is just like, she kept popping up all these things. Next thing I know, she was out of work because she had gotten a concussion. And which honestly should have been my sign to know that she was going to be a handful. Because it's just...
At the salon. The concussion happened at the salon.
You're going to have to share that story with us.
Yeah. Okay. Well, so what had happened was I was double booked on a Saturday. It was absolutely insane in the salon. we had these dryers in the old salon that I worked for that came down from the ceiling. So, like, I am double booked with these two girls, all the hair, and I had pulled a dryer down. I had spilled color on the floor. So, I'm a tornado. There's always, if you go to my station over there, there's nothing but color around the floor. So, anyways, I go to wipe it up and come back up and nail my head on the steel bar of the dryer. Still finished my day, drove myself home and everything. Had a concussion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She had made a TikTok about, I had already been seeing her TikToks, but I saw that and I was like, what in the world? So we had kind of started following each other, and I knew that she was a great stylist. She had a good reputation in the area. And she had followed Pinup's page, but not my personal. So then she followed my personal page, and I was like, oh, is she looking for a job? And I don't slide into DMs like that. If a stylist wants to talk to me, they can. I don't want to poach other salons' stylists. And she slid into my DMs. So
I was like, so if a friend, because you know how the salon industry can be, once you are found, trying to find a new space, whether it just be, for your own mental health or, just moving areas, it's always, most of the time, a slight, and, it's never taken greatly by the other salon owner. So I was trying to be really discreet, and I wasn't.
Our online application process wasn't working. So her segue into talking to me was just so if a friend was looking to apply, but they don't think that your application process is working, what would you recommend them do? And then I was like, she's got to be the friend. Anyways, so she ended up, we talked and figured it out and got her in, and next thing I know, I had her and her best friend and about...
it was me and 3 other girls.
It all happened.
You just brought the whole crew.
I brought the whole team. I was like, come on, friends, this
it all
is great.
happened like a tornado. Her coming in was a tornado. It was just, but it was great. And I think that's just shows you the power of social media and kind of how we had came across each other and then how that brought us together.
No, absolutely. I agree. I feel like how we learned of each other, too. TikTok is my best friend, and only because I got no real friends, but that's fine. They're all on the internet. It's fine. That way I don't have to run into them at Publix.
Yeah.
You know? I'm just like,
I think that makes much more sense, actually.
Yeah.
I had to go to the Target up here yesterday before a facial, and I looked ratchet because it was before my facial, right? And I was like, I hope I don't see a client.
I have ran into 2 exes at that Target, so looking my absolute worst. So yeah, no, I feel you.
Small town life, I'm telling you. I never knew that until I moved here. I'm from Sarasota, Florida, and so I never saw the same person twice. I don't care if I took the same route every single day. And then I come here and I was like, oh, I know you. Why is this happening?
Are you following me?
Exactly. I was like, do I have stalkers? Oh, wait, you live here too. That's okay.
This is weird.
This is so weird.
Yeah.
So let's talk about some of the common challenges that you guys face when you are starting out and building your brand and your entire, I don't want to say brand necessarily again, but your following.
Yeah.
So what are some common challenges that you would face?
I feel because you graduated cosmetology school when?
2014.
Okay, so I graduated 2011, so we're kind of ish in the same cusp of what it was like to be a hair. So when I had started out, Instagram wasn't really a thing.
Facebook.
Facebook was kind of, but really it was just people weren't as picky with how they got their hair done because there wasn't, balayage was just kind of big. I didn't learn that in school, which I don't think you really even learn it in school anyways.
No.
But not the right way, but that just wasn't really a thing. So I felt for me, I definitely heavily relied on the salons that I worked for, but then referrals. I like to think I was I don't like to think. I was a really bad stylist my first 2 or 3 years. My personality carried me. And a good blowout. So, I'm a very personable person. So having those relationships and building my book that way, I think is what really kind of pushed me into getting a full book. And then I lost everything when I went to do my own independent studio and had to rebuild back up. Well, at that time it was when social media was really starting to pop off. Instagram was really becoming a thing, all the networking. And so I started showing up at networking things, started doing all the things on Instagram. A lot of the ways that I'm showing up for my company now was the same way I showed up then. So when people are you just seem so comfortable. Well, yeah, I've been doing it for almost 10 years now, which is crazy to think about. But to me, it's just second nature. And so I think I just kept showing up at networking events, talking about Pinup Studio. It was just me, but it got to a point where it wasn't, people were oh, they would come to my one little room studio and they'd be oh, I thought this was a whole company. And I would always be oh, at some point. And then it was.
So let's talk about your transition into the studio to your other location.
So that had happened 2018 in November. One of the million Facebook groups. We're all on a million of them, especially the local ones. And somehow a salon had popped up. And I knew it was close to my studio. It was less than a mile, actually. Ooh. And so it was a barber shop. And it was basically, I guess, I don't know if he didn't want his name to be known. I don't know what happened. All I know is I contacted the broker. Literally had no idea what I was doing. And next thing I know, we're going to tour the salon. And again, it was a barbershop. It was owned by a man named Randy. And he is actually still with us today. So he's 74 years old.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. He had owned it for 28 years. And he still wanted to do hair part-time. He just didn't want to manage it or deal with anything. So it was total barbershop vibes. Black, white, gray, 2 TVs with golf on, all the Paul Mitchell products, like just not the reception seats were like the ones in an AutoZone, like
oh my
just
God.
not it. And I knew that I could judge it. I knew that it was what I could do to kind of grow and build and get what I needed. So again, found that mid-November 2018, closed on it December 21st. And so I basically like bought out the last year of his lease, and he had booth renters, which is not how I operate my company, but he had booth renters. So my thought process was his booth renters can essentially help pay for my rent, and then the money I'm making, because I was a full-time service provider, will help pay for my loan. Of course, you weed out the booth renters and stuff because they can't guarantee they're going to be there, and we wet them out. I hired my first actual pinup employee February 2019. And because I got in, I zhuzhed it, made it pink. And I told him, I was like, you can still work here part-time. It's going to be pink, though. Like, real pink.
Just so
and we got rid of the golf, right?
I ripped those TVs off. You talking about some mad men when they would come in. Oh, they did not like that. So, yeah, took the TVs out, made everything pink. And he never cared. He supported me every step of the way. If he had clients come in that were disrespectful or didn't understand it, he always, like, had my back, still always has my back. He actually sat in for my first fire, which was actually his niece. Which was crazy.
I didn't
so
know
she
that.
was a booth renter. Yeah, he actually sat in on that, and that was very interesting. But anyways, we kind of built it up from there. I remember I zhuzhed it, I painted it, I did all the things, and then I remember looking around and I'm like, oh crap, I need to hire employees. So that was just a whole different thing.
Oh, for sure. I know that when I went through it myself, I was like, first of all, I didn't know what I was doing, okay? Because you have to look for a specific person or a specific personality.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. So tell us how you got through that.
I really think this has been like our first year that we've done really, and I don't want to sound rude on any of this because I think for me, I never wanted to tell anyone no. Even if I knew they weren't necessarily going to be a good culture fit, I didn't know how important a culture fit was until you hired the people that weren't right. Doesn't mean they're a bad stylist, doesn't mean they're a bad person, but for the company and the brand that I'm building, that wasn't there. So me growing up in Raleigh, applying to all of these high-end salons, I was never hired at them. And that messes with your confidence as a young stylist. So I think when people would always interview with me, I never wanted to tell them no because I didn't want to hurt their feelings. It took me some rough hires, some rough fires, some rough, like, all of the things for me to, like, understand that it's okay to tell them no and redirect them to other salons that might be good for them. It doesn't mean that they're a bad stylist at all. Because, I mean, even people that haven't worked out, they're great stylists, just didn't work out here. So I think we got really, really crystal clear on what we wanted our culture to look like and what our values were. And my manager and I, Allie, this year, we were just done bringing everybody in to kind of feel like we were getting the short end of the stick or giving so much grace. We've stuck to that. So I think this year we've done really well with all of that and just meeting
I think
people.
very, like, clear expectations
Yeah.
and, like, very clear goals for everyone and, like, constant like back end support. Like, how can I support you in this?
Well, because we're not for everybody. I mean, as a company, you know, some people, they just want to go to work and get out. Mm-hmm. That's not necessarily our vibe here. We are someone had kind of related us to a sorority and actually made fun of us for that, which that's fine. I never went to college. I didn't do any of that. But some people like to make fun of us and how girly we are and how, you know, cutesy stuff. I love it. a lot of our guests love it. A lot of our majority of our, all of our employees, like, it's who we are. And so if it's someone who, like, they don't want to do that, then first of all, they're probably not going to apply here. But two, you can tell real quick if someone's like, okay, I don't want to do the extra stuff or, you know, be in the pictures and people don't have to be in all of our TikToks, but people do love our TikToks.
I was gonna say, it's part of your brand, and also you have to, like, hire people that believe what you believe.
Yeah.
And sometimes, as business owners, we don't understand what we believe
Yeah.
at first, especially when you're just starting out and you're like, I have a vision, but I need people to get to that vision. And I had to meet with somebody who actually does HR for a living, and I was like, tell me what I'm missing here. And the fact is that I was hiring during a time when everyone needed a job in 2021. So I didn't want to tell people no either.
Yeah.
And I wanted to build my dream, but I also wanted to make sure that they had a paycheck. And so I had to, like, take my emotions completely out of it and be like, listen, what is actually happening here? What is the vision? How do you fit into it? If they didn't fit into it, it was a problem. Like, we've had somebody come to work and they were full dressed up like they were working at a chemical plant. That does not fit our vision.
No.
Like, wear your protective equipment, yes, but I feel like the whole looking like you're making meth is not appropriate.
It's not the vibe.
No.
Not the vibe we're going for.
Yeah.
Right, and so you have to figure that out. And yes, you're probably going to down the road have somebody who just comes in, works, and leaves, and that's okay. But as long as 99% of everybody believe what you believe and they participate, you're good.
Yep.
And I am in love with the whole pink, all of it. It is just, it's so gorgeous in here. And it makes you feel pretty, and that's the whole goal, right?
Yep.
You want people to come in and leave, and they want to feel pretty when they walk in, but also want to feel gorgeous when they leave.
Well, and I think it's comforting, right? Like, even when we expanded, and we spoke about this through the whole design process of it, like, we wanted this to be more upscale and luxury. We could only zhuzh the old place. The zhuzhing was done. And so we want to be more upscale, but we still want to feel comfortable. We didn't want to be that, like, very, like, cut and dry modern salon that's just the black and white, a little bit of the beige. Like, we wanted to have fun with it and make it comforting, where it's like, you know, you're coming into a space where our price point is definitely a little bit on the higher side. You're going to be offered amenities that aren't going to be offered at some salons, but you're still going to be able to feel comfortable and not feel like you know, if you came in your sweatpants, you're like, ooh, I kind of need to change it. No, you don't need to. Girls, just come in.
I like to go to my appointments, no bra, no nothing, let's just go. I'm serious.
Exactly. And, like, just everything down to, like, the details as far as, like, the mirrors. Like, we wanted the mirrors to be backlit when we moved into this space, because we know how hard it is to, like, sit there and look at yourself in that, like, black cape up to your neck, and you just feel like a blob.
A floating head.
Yeah, like a floating head. And I don't want someone to be sitting in my chair for hours and looking in a mirror and feeling that way about themselves. So when we moved to this space, the client reaction was just like, I feel so pretty in this mirror, like, as soon as they sit down. And I was like, that's the goal.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So let's talk a little bit about what you guys offer. I noticed that you have a bridal suite over here. Can we talk about some of the services that you guys have offered?
Yeah, so I'll talk about the first half, and then I'll let her dive in, because I'm actually not even on the floor anymore. So I pulled out from being on the floor about 2 years ago, or a little over 2 years ago at this point. So we do have a whole bridal department. So we do hair, makeup. We offer the trials in-house. We have the bridal suite that we built out. So in there, if your venue doesn't let you get in early enough, you can rent our bridal suite out. We've partnered with a charcuterie company as well, so we can kind of, like, make it whatever you want it to be that morning of. And then we also offer hair extension rentals for our brides, so they're clip-in extensions. So some brides, you know, they don't want to get the extension sewn in how we offer them or other things. But they have that really full updo, and they might just need a little bit, not a whole shebang. So you can buy them from us for sure, that's fine, but if you're never going to wear them again, just rent them. So they get color matched at their trial, they put them in, they show them how to do it, and then they have to pick up and drop off. We have a whole system for that, and it's just very cost friendly, and just, it was a fun way to do it. So, and then we have, what all are we doing on the floor?
Oh, girl. So, we have PS Wefts, which we launched, the extension company. So we full service extension line. On the floor, we also have, like, our signature cocktails. We change them every season, and they come in the cutest cups. Like,
Everything's
everything
I'm so excited.
everything is just tailored, like, to the smallest detail. She is super good at that. I run fast, but, like, she's good at the details. And then
Our signature blowout.
Oh, yeah, our signature blowout. That's nice. We have pink rollers for that. So you get like a pink signature blowout. We also have a baddie blowout, which we have memberships for now. By the way, you can get like 2 a month in your membership. So
nice.
I think that's sick. What else have we got going on in the
Cuts
floor?
and colors.
Yeah,
just
cuts,
your
color,
normal
your
ones.
full service salon as far as that goes. We are Mika based as far as hair care. And we have all the merch too. Pinup merch and exciting things.
Yep.
And we're going to show you a video of that later. I'm going to go through and show everything. This place is so cute, guys. You have to come down and check it out. And you said you do seasonal drinks. So does that mean that they should come back more often to see all these things?
100%.
Yeah, they change every season and they're all just so good.
Everything to the drinkster. We can make them mocktails as well. We do try. I mean, obviously, rosé is the only one we keep on tap here. That is what
Rosé all day.
All day. But when it comes to the seasonal cocktails, we typically have like one main one. Obviously, for the holidays, now we have 3 different ones. Everything from like spiked hot cocoa to a cranberry flavored one to an apple. We got really excited, and that's okay. But yeah, we like to change it out, keep it fun. Our clients know that about us, and so they're used to seeing them, and they are complimentary. So
Even better. Come in, get your due, and just get a little drink on.
Yeah.
I'm down.
Really unwind, you know?
Yeah.
We're here for it.
I mean, that's the goal, right? Like, when I do self-care, I want to just, like, leave feeling so relaxed.
Yeah.
And that's fabulous. So can we talk about your journey from going from your salon that you had to zhuzh up to here?
That I feel like I've like lived 9 lives. So we found this space September last year, and this was a tutoring center. So it was really hard to find a space that was wide because they call them a shotgun shell, which is kind of what our old place was, just very long and narrow. And I wanted something wide because, and that will kind of segue into our education, I wanted to be able to host things. Not only just education, but have local markets in here, things like that. I didn't want people to be on top of each other. So we found this in September, went back and forth, learned a lot of craziness with my manager and I zhuzhing stuff up. And we basically had to sell ourselves. I don't know if that was just this place, but like to the landlord and write like a resume on the company and show them. They wanted to know that obviously we were a good brand that was going to come in here and stay and not leave. So it went from us hoping we were going to sign our LOI to make sure that this was ours because I knew other people were looking at it. It went from, it'll be signed by Thanksgiving, signed by Christmas. It was signed January 15th. I was ready to die because my lease was up at my old space in June. So when I tell you, like, on the line for everything. So we already had our construction team, all of those things. Once that baby was signed and stuff was good, we were really, like, rolling with it. And so we had all of construction done literally in sign-offs June 17th. We opened June 18th on the day.
Nice.
I would sing my construction company's like voice, whatever, praises to everything because it does not happen that way. But yeah, the whole build out process, I mean, we tore this whole thing down from like down to the studs and built it back up because we basically had to knock everything out because it was all like little tutoring rooms and stuff like that.
Do you remember the night we came in here and did that like Blair Witch Project video? There was no lights in here, no heat, no nothing, and it was just like the tutoring center, and there's like 2-way mirrors all in this place.
It was so creepy.
It was so creepy.
Yeah, because we were finally getting the keys and we wanted to show everyone. And listen, you don't know till you don't know, and I did learn stuff through the old one, but I was not told that I needed to go ahead and transfer the heat and the power and all of these things, which now that I say that, I feel like I sound a little silly, but whatever. So it was like one of the coldest days that we, like literally, it was so cold, like take your breath away cold in here. And, but it was a lot of fun. It was really cool to see it. I had worked with a salon designer who actually helped like draw this floor plan out because it's hard to see something come to a vision when it's all there. So she basically took the layout of it and showed me 4 different ways that we could have had these stations in the bridal suite and stuff like that. And then from there it was just all of the shopping and all of the picking out, and it was really cool. I came up here probably every single Sunday to see how far they had gotten on things because it was just like,
it's your baby.
Yeah.
And what I think was really cool about the whole process and moving and like picking out the small design elements, Christina would like post in our Pinup Insiders group, which is like a private group for pinup clients and guests that they can join. We always give them like first details on stuff. So anyway, she would post in that group, and like give them options for like the wallpaper in the bathroom. Like, what do y'all like? Like, tell me. So it was really designed like with the stylist and the customers and clients like in mind, with their opinions valued.
Which I think is a huge part of our brand in general, because like I want people to feel like they're a part of it, and so much of what we do in general is custom. I mean, half of her customers I don't know personally, but I see them all the time. Her station's also right outside my office, so I get to know them. They don't know that I'm getting to know them, but I do. But like the conversations you have and things like that, and I felt like, this is going to be a community-based company. I wanted them involved in it. My stylists are going to work here. I'm not on the floor anymore, so what I think might work for me doesn't work for how they do things now. That went down to our color room. That was kind of a bad idea, but kind of a good idea. Like I let my stylist do that because they're the ones working there. I'm not. So the voting and all of that was really fun. The design elements and bringing the team in on it and knowing that they had a voice in all of this.
I think that's really good for building your brand too, because it's not just your brand; it's the people that also support your brand. Mm-hmm. So that was really good.
Go ahead.
And we're back. So tell me about the custom wallpaper.
So how did I find them? I don't know how I came across it. Oh, one of my friends, she had tagged me in there because I had a beauty school dropout collection, which is kind of what our bridal suite-ish had came from. And so I had reached out to them, and they had sent me a wallpaper for my home office, which is like pink and has hair dryers, all this stuff. And then they kept dropping different collections. They're actually a company, it's Sunday Social Club, and they're in Charlotte, and it's two friends. Their moms were interior designers, and their stuff is just so fun. I think wallpaper, we had it in our old space, but it really is like making a comeback.
I'm really excited. I'm here for that, honestly.
Well, and it makes like a fun statement without having to do too much in a way. Like ours, it's, someone said, we had an event the other week, and they said our front bathroom reminded them of Golden Girls, but in this era. And I was like, I really like that. So so everything from just all the pinks and all the pops, it's grass cloth, so it has a cool texture to it. So it's not, I'm big on texture. A lot of our walls, there's a lot more coming to the design, but I need to sit in here to see it. The holidays, it looks really done up, but once it's come down, she's a little naked right now. But I like texture, I like depth on stuff, and so the wallpaper was that was a cool addition. And then our bridal suite, when they had done a custom print, kind of knocked off of like what they had already done, but with our brand colors.
And I know that in the bridal suite, you have your logo on there. So they customized the wallpaper, and there's a pink toilet in the bathroom. You guys have got to come down and see this.
Fought for my life for that thing.
It was the best day when it got here. I was like, this is Christmas.
And it was like, what, July? You said, or June?
The toilet didn't even get
No,
September.
Oh, wow.
When I tell you the first thing I told my contractors,
like.
the first thing I told my contractors is I want a pink toilet. And of course, like, I'm dealing with all men through this build out, and they thought I was kidding about no. So for whatever reason, the way that flushes and it being commercial grade and all of that, I guess it's really hard to find a pink toilet. Didn't think it would be. But that is the first thing I asked for and the last thing I got here.
It's like that.
Mm-hmm.
I love that it's custom, though, because that means that it's unique, and it gets more attention that way, honestly, because there's a salon that I go to, and I'm not going to shout them out, and everything is boring and old, and it needs a facelift, and I don't feel pretty when I leave there. I like my hair, I'm like, I look beautiful, but I don't feel pretty, and I feel like this gives you that whole feeling. So that's
it's a feeling.
Great.
That's like,
And the clients are so like in touch with the brand and so a part of it that like the first week they came in here, we didn't have these little pink archways up on this wall.
They're so cute.
And we didn't have that pink shelf over there. So it was pretty white in here. And they came in, they're like, oh no.
It's not pink enough.
It's not pink enough.
And we kept telling them, like,
and
you
they
just
did not, they just were so open. We're like, wait, we promise. We just had to get in here. We switched salons in 48 hours.
Wow.
We were supposed to have a whole lot, it was less than 48 hours.
Maybe 24.
Yeah. It was the joys of the city and dealing with getting all of the stuff that you need signed off, down to, like, the silliest things. And so we were supposed to have, like, I think it was, I had a schedule. I'm very like, I had it all planned out. Because we had husbands, boyfriends, everybody in on the move. It all fell apart. So literally flipped it completely, and then we're ready to open. And it worked.
Yeah, it worked. We made it. We made it out alive.
Hey, that's
feels
amazing.
like a fever dream when I think about it sometimes. That
Yeah.
day, but it was fun.
Yeah. June was a blur. Yeah.
Tina told me I had to sit down and be quiet.
I told her and Allie, our manager, I was like, please do not say anything. Because if it's not me that's going to say something, I can guarantee you it'll be Allie. But if it's not Allie, it's definitely her. Or one of them at the same time. So I was like, please just don't say anything. Just put our heads down and let them walk through here. Let's get this sign off.
Sometimes that can be the biggest challenge of owning a business in general, is getting everything in order so that you can open the doors.
Yeah.
So can we talk about some advice that you would have for somebody who's wanting to either become a hairdresser, open their own salon, or just kind of get into the business?
So my advice to be a hairdresser would be, this is a passion-driven industry. If you do not have the passion for it, and I need to figure out the statistic, because you're like the second or third person I've talked to like very recently about the amount of people who go to cosmetology school and are not doing hair within the first 5 years to the first 10 years to 15 years out, because so many people drop it. This is such a passion industry, and you do have to have thick skin, but it also ebbs and flows a lot. So when it comes to how busy you are, when it comes to finding the right salon or opening your own salon, all of these things that kind of go into it, if your love doesn't outweigh it, and that's where it was hard for me to pull out behind the chair, but I love supporting stylists and giving them the support that I didn't have when I worked in a salon. So that's where my passion is with it, but like the beauty behind it. So have the passion and the patience. To open a business, have the patience and a therapist.
The patience and a therapist.
And a therapist. It's, you don't know until you know, and I think if you can be really honest with yourself, and I tell people even in interviews, like, I know I'm a really good boss, but I'm not a perfect boss. I also know that I'm a human, so I'm going to mess up. So, and you as an employer are going to mess up. So I don't expect you to get it right every time, but I'm going to give you the grace when you don't. So, but I also want you to be able to come to me and tell me when I'm not getting it right, but give me the grace when I haven't gotten it right. And I feel like I have gotten that from my team, because there are times where I've stood on things that weren't either that serious, or I needed more guidance or help on, and the patience. And so I think just like being honest and really taking that time to know, like we had talked about kind of earlier, what your values were behind everything and standing in that.
Absolutely. We are meeting with a therapist to come on the podcast because I agree with you 100%. When I started my business, I was in therapy, but for something completely different. I was going through a divorce, and it was terrible. And who starts a business and has a divorce at the same time, right?
You're like, I'm just going to go all in. It's
yeah.
Go all in, full stress.
Yeah, like, why not? And it was like having that, making sure that I had grace for myself. And I learned a lot about my own personal development that kind of I brought into the business. So I highly recommend that. And get a therapist, guys. A therapist works, yes, but a therapist is probably a little bit more even keel on that.
Yeah, a therapist or a therapist, either way.
What would your advice be for someone wanting to be a hairstylist?
My advice for someone wanting to be a hairstylist would be, again, you have to have the passion. But more than that, you have to have the self-control or ambition to chase your dreams and to hold yourself accountable. Because most of the time, when you're starting out as a stylist, no one's handing you clients. No one's doing that for you. So you have to have the dedication to post on social media, to be able to put yourself out there, and just find your support system and stay on that course. Because throughout my career, there's been 100 people who have told me, oh, that's not a job, that's not a career. Oh, I had family members sending me job postings to my email. Yeah, because they're like, that's not a job, that's not a job. Even though my mom was supportive, there were still people who weren't. So if you really believe in your heart that's what you want to do, know that you can achieve it and find the people that are going to support you while you do it. That's my biggest advice. And also, not everybody wants to be a salon owner. You don't have to go into doing hair to be a salon owner.
Yep.
I've found so much fulfillment and just happiness and joy doing education with Pinup. I don't know. I love her and I love what she does, but I don't want to do it. I love pouring into other stylists and stuff like that, but I think going into it, people think that the end all be all is salon owner, but there's still a way to make it and grow in this career without owning a salon, especially if you team up with a really cool owner.
So let's talk about your ideal client.
So as a company, we really wanted to be able to bring anyone in here. So we can do anything from the extensions, blondes, brunettes, vivids, but the way that we have figured out how to help clients find their ideal stylist is there is a matchmaking service called Maya, and it's Meet Your Artist. And so we brought this in. It's been over a year now that we've used it.
It's the best.
So it's kind of like a dating app, but to find your hairstylist. So you as a guest, you'd go on our website or through our Instagram and you take this quiz, and it is based off of everything from your budget to your personality to the style of your hair that you want, and then it pairs you with our top 3 stylists, because our stylists have a whole different test. So if you want vivid hair, it's not going to put you with Lindsay, who's one of our blonde specialists. She only does blondes primarily. So it would pair you with the top 3 people, send you your matches, and send you like a little headshot and bio so you kind of know who you're looking at and their social media to actually see their work.
That's very important, especially when you're looking for a stylist that does exactly what you want.
Yeah.
I have had a hard time finding a nice Vivids person who understands what I'm looking for, who doesn't want to fry my hair off. That's been a whole fun story. But let's talk about Hannah's ideal client.
So my ideal client, I have a love for extensions. But really any client that loves like lived in natural looks. I love, or even high contrast balayages. Any kind of like pop and blend. My life is the blend. That's what gives me happiness in my soul. So I do highlights and stuff too, but I love a lived in color and extensions. Like that is my ideal girl, and preferably that she reads and listens to crime docs so we can talk about it while she sits in my chair.
Do you have a favorite crime documentary that you listen to or watch?
Oh man, I really like Rotten Mangoes. It's like a podcast. That one's pretty good. My favorite murder was actually what got me into like the crime podcast, and it's super old, but it's a good one. It's a good one.
I'll have to check that
Law
out.
and Order, you know,
Oh,
all
that's
that.
like my favorite.
Any like documentary, all that. My husband thinks I'm crazy because I watch
could
them before
never.
I go to bed.
No,
but like,
I personally, no, I would not sleep.
yeah,
You
that's
just relax with this crime and murder. It's fine.
yeah, yeah. That's my ideal
I have
client.
Murder Sunday at home, so like that means that the murder goes on the TV, and I will murder you if you get in my way. I have kids, so.
That goes really well, though. That's a good one.
Yeah, yeah.
Murder
So
Sunday.
I love clients that are like bubbly too, and just because I'm a lot.
I agree with you. I think that you have to definitely mesh well and get along
Yeah.
well and have similar, personalities.
Yeah.
So definitely, I love that you have a matchmaker.
It's really cool because we have in that like I have stylists who are a little bit more quiet and reserved. I mean, not everyone's just going to come off the gate like loud and bubbly, and that's fine. I think sometimes that might take a few appointments, but then you do have your stylist like Hannah who like she could be best friends with the door handle like that. And so it's kind of like you have those kind of people. Then you have some guests who they want to come in and they might not want to talk. They might want a stylist who's a little bit more and so it helps like really pair them properly.
No, that's fabulous. With my wax lady, they asked, do you want a quiet appointment? And I was like, I love that. It was the first time I was introduced to it, like a matchmaking kind of thing. So I love that you guys do that. You're actually the only salon that I know that does that. So that's fabulous.
I love it.
Let's talk about your future goals. What are you looking towards for 2025?
The limit does not exist.
The limit does not exist with us. We're constantly sending each other like back and forth ideas too much. Sometimes I get put in idea timeout.
I have to. I say put it in the notes. We have a shared notes and it's her brain dump. And the things that just range in that shared note is crazy, but I had to do it because there are some times where and I do believe, and I've tried to be really good on it this year, because the whole WEFs thing came really left field. That was really not on the radar. It was, but it wasn't, and I didn't think that we would be bringing it on how we did this year. I'm glad that we did.
I just kind of drove the tractor trailer and was like, let's go, friends, get in.
We're
starting
hanging
a
on
hair
to like the
extension
last part
line.
of that, just drug. And then swiping my card. But I do believe that you can't do everything and do it right. So I've been trying to hone in on all the things that we've done, and education has been something her and I have spoken about since I hired her. And so future wise, I always wanted Pinup to be a space where stylists, regardless if they were independent stylists having their own studio or worked at another salon, which I know can be a touchy subject, that they could be comfortable coming here and know that they could come to classes here, know that they could reach out to us, and it wasn't just a way where it's like, well, if you come to a class here, you need to work here. No, our space
And we
is
can
open.
be friends.
Yeah, we can be friends.
Just because you work at a different salon, we can be friends.
Yeah, we can do all of the things. And so, and price points on things, I think there's so much digital training for stylists, and especially that came out through COVID. We're over it.
we're done.
We're creatives, we need hands-on, we need things, we need camaraderie, all of that. And so that's kind of where it was like, all right, we need to do something. So for me, it was really just like mending the gap between commissioned stylist and independent stylist, but just being able to really like broaden what we can house in here. And then for PS Wefts, I'll let her lead that.
So I really, really, really struggled with finding an extension line and an extension company method that I could align with and like really stand behind the chair. So for about a year and a half, 2 years, I had just been like toying with the idea, like reaching out to people, like what does it look like to do this? And I hit the nail on the head finally, and we connected, and it was literally like the whirlwind of a 3-month process. We were picking out hair, we were picking out colors, we were naming the hair. It was just a whirlwind of a process. And so we started PS Wefts, and I was like, okay, great, we did that, Christina, but like now we can't gatekeep the hair because like the hair's too good to gatekeep. So we have to teach other people the method so they can use the hair, and just give other stylists like an opportunity to get good hair that's not super expensive, and you're not buying it from a big company where their quality ranges, because that's what I ran into was big companies that I would buy to get a really good set of hair this order, and the next time my client ordered hair it was just super inconsistent, and we were sick of that. And so when we designed PS Wefts, we found the pot of gold, I think.
Also with stylists too, and what I had found between Hannah and our other educators is it was the fact that like from an owner standpoint, I invest heavily in my stylist education. So extension class could cost anywhere from $800 up to well over $2,000. It really doesn't matter. But it's the follow-up after that. So I would send, stylists to go do these trainings, and then they would come in and they're standing behind her and practicing with a mannequin with her, and she's fixing things and doing things. So here we are just dropping $1,500 for you to get the certification from this one company who they blow you up right before, and they're sending you these emails, and then your class is over and poof. We didn't want that. We're made by stylists for that purpose. And so the way that we've like really driven that community is having a private page where we can have the conversations, where there's videos uploaded, where you can really reach out to our educators and they're actually answering your questions, and you don't just feel like, I thought we really hit it off in class. Like, I thought we were jiving, and then now you don't even look my way. Or like the famous that I love is when like they follow and then they unfollow after class. I'm like, what just happened here? Oh yeah, it's so weird.
Rude, wow. I know. So yeah, just the education portion, I wanted to bring stylists in the community that weren't necessarily a part of Pinup, and not to bring them into Pinup because, like we talked about earlier, everybody's not for here and for our brand, and that's okay. There's 1,000 salons in Raleigh, and they all have a uniqueness to them, but that doesn't mean that we all have to stay separated all the time. We can come learn together and then all succeed together.
Yeah.
I love that mentality, that just the community and making sure, because that's what I do with this podcast is we are all entrepreneurs. We all are trying to make ends meet and live our dreams, but we don't have to look at someone and be like, just come together. Like, cool, we're not for each other, but we can still support each other.
Yep.
Exactly.
There's more than enough people for everybody to eat and eat well.
No, I agree. And that's a lot of the reason I'm doing this podcast too, is to kind of showcase like, hey, we're all doing this, we're all in it together. We all face similar challenges, and how do we overcome them? And also to give that information to someone who may be struggling currently and not know how to move forward.
Yeah.
So I really appreciate you guys coming on the podcast and sharing all of your knowledge, and we look forward to being able to revisit this in a year from now so you guys can tell us all of your progress.
Sold out classes and all of the things. We'll probably have hair in stock here at that point. Oh,
I know, I'm so excited.
We can't keep spilling the beans, but yeah.
No, 1 year. You guys got to come back and tell us everything. All right?
1 year.
So I'm writing it down.
Yeah.
Well, tell everybody where they can find you guys. What is your website?
So it would be pinupstudio.nc.com, and then our social media handle would be pinupstudio_NC. If you want to follow me, the crazy salon owner, it's just PS Christina K, and everything else on the website will show you, and then Hannah's is.
And then I'm Hot Hair with Hannah on Instagram, TikTok, all the things. Come find me.
All right, so give them a like and a follow, and get to see all the behind the scenes stuff that's going on. And we want to thank you guys for digging the dirt with us. Have a great week. All right, perfect.